Automation Nation, Automation Nation, Automation Nation, around the nation. Automation Nation, Automation Nation, Automation Nation, around the nation, around the nation, around the nation. Welcome to the Automation Nation podcast, the show for business leaders, tech aficionados, and those who are just simply curious about where technology and business are going. Automation Nation is your gateway to understanding automation, AI, and the future of business. Don't get left behind. Tune in now and subscribe for more. Welcome, ladies. We're back again for another Automation Nation conversation. I got another great guest, Miss Anne Lackey. How are you doing, Anne?
I am excited to be here, Rob, and thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I'm so excited just to talk to you about business and life and appreciate the opportunity.
Well, the feeling is mutual, and that's what we do here on this show. We just talk about life, business, how we can make life better in business. What are some of those tools making life better in business? What are some of those experiences, Anne? What are some of those pros and cons that can be shared? I'm going to share a little bit about your bio at the top here, because I like this. I like the way it opens up. It says, Anne Lackey loves starting and running businesses. She works with her husband and business partner, which is also amazing. I have my business partner as a wife as well, Mark Lackey, who has always been fascinated with making things work better and run smoother. Me too. I've always been fascinated about how can you make things better. It got me in trouble when I was younger. Together, they have co-founded and run multiple businesses simultaneously for more than 2 decades. They have generated over $20 million in revenue for their service-based businesses in the last 2 years alone. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, is a key side note to put on a note on the side, because there's always, I think it was Jim Rohn that says success leaves clues, and so success does leave clues. The other half of that is we have to follow the trail. And so following the trail very often is just getting a chance to hear. I don't want to call you a horse. I want to say the horse's mouth, but I don't want to call humans horses, but you know what I'm saying. Got to get it right from the source.
There we go. That works.
And thank you for being here. So why don't we open this up? First of all, we always ask each of our guests this first question, because we're powered by Simply Automate. So, Anne, I want you to think about this. This is a real tough question here, too. If you could simply automate one thing in your personal life, what would it be?
That's a great point. For my personal life, I would probably say cooking, honestly. I like good food, and I like it to be well done, and it usually requires a human touch. And so I would say my personal life. But a lot of things in my personal life are automated. I have an automated dog feeder, an automatic dog door. I got all kinds of stuff.
Okay. Yeah. So you know automation, what it can do for you. That's good. And that cooker, by the way, I was just watching something this morning and yesterday. The new robotics companies that are coming out, and the prototypes are already here. So cooking is a done deal.
We'll be like the Jetsons in probably another 5 years. Absolutely. And I am looking forward to that day.
Yeah, absolutely. In your bio here, it says, by coaching and consulting with hundreds of CEOs and executives, you found 3 common core business problems: owner overwhelm, staff turnover, and failures in poor customer service and follow-up. And why don't you start off by telling us what got you in this business, first of all, and how are you addressing those issues? What got you and Mark started in this?
Well, interestingly enough, my story is very simple. My husband and I went on a vacation many years ago now, like over a decade ago. And we had a marketing manager quit via text on my first vacation in 7 years. And so when that started, it's kind of started me down this rabbit trail of going, okay, this is not good. Like I am dependent upon one person to answer my phones and do all the things that I needed to do. And so Mark and I drove back from our vacation. It was a 6 hour drive. Like literally, I'd just gotten there. We ended up driving back and we started talking about the linchpins in our business, and overwhelm was one of those. And so we started looking at solutions, and Hire Smart Virtual Employees was born a decade ago to solve that specific problem. I wanted somebody who wanted to be part of our team that I worked with every day. And there really wasn't a company that did the business the way we do it. And so I wanted to make sure that, I had a solid foundation and process and automation, all those things that you talk about, right? But in the hiring process. And so that's what we ended up doing. And we created Hire Smart Virtual Employees so that we could help other businesses reduce a lot of that stress and pressure. So that's kind of how it got started.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So, and those are the best companies to be born. Those are the best initiatives when you're solving your own problem first, right? You got your own pain point first because you authentically can identify what that pain feels like.
It was bad. I mean, honestly, it was very uncomfortable. And then, of course, going through the process of birthing Hire Smart Virtual Employees and the growth and all of that was in the beginning a little challenging.
Of course.
But honestly, as it says in my bio, so my husband is the visionary, so he's the idea guy. I'm the implementer, the person that gets stuff done, and between the two of us, we make a good whole person. I guess is really what it is. But we love solving problems. And so Hire Smart Virtual Employees solves the labor problems of today, and our not-for-profit Hire Smart Cares solves the business labor problems of the future.
There you go. So there you go. And it kind of rolls into one of the next questions here. Like, what are some of these challenges and how are you helping them face these challenges and overcome them?
Well, staffing is a problem. Qualified people that want to work is a challenge that we solve every day for our clients. And so a lot of times our clients are in areas where it is difficult to find people that want to do some of the routinary works, like answer the phones, do administrative tasks, following up on those leads that come in that you spend a lot of money for, but you don't have time, or your salespeople don't have time to do that. All of those things are ways that we help our clients get better results and reduce that overwhelm and pressure in their business and increase their customer satisfaction. Because we've all had the issue where we've called a company and it's either voicemail tree you can never get out of, right? Or you get somebody on the line that you don't understand, that you doesn't seem to listen to the questions that you're asked. And AI is going to help with a lot of that. Automation is going to help with all of that. But there are some times when you just want to talk to a human and you want a good experience. And so those are some of the things that we help our clients with.
That's good. That's good. And in any industries are you seeing particularly that are benefiting most, or that you are able to help the fastest, that have the desire, need the most, and the hungriest kind of per se?
Yeah, it's a lot of customer facing positions. So, there's a lot of stuff. I was a broker. I owned my property management company for 18 years. So I have a lot of friends and businesses around the real estate world, but it goes into trades too. I mean, plumbers, technicians, all those people need support people to schedule their techs. We deal a lot with, some of the medical fields, again, scheduling, these things that require a little more human element to it to make sure that it's, they're appropriately scheduled, or they're, we're getting the information. And so those are industries that are very, very fast growing. And you love our services because not only are we able to give them people that are ready, able, and willing to work, but they do it with an air and attitude of service. And they want and are so grateful for the opportunity to serve in that capacity, in that role. So versus a receptionist that you might be able to hire locally, they may stay for 6 months if you're lucky. Our people stay for years. I mean, we've had we've actually, my very first virtual assistant that I hired, 10 years ago, still works for our company today. She doesn't work for me personally, but she still works for our company. And I think that speaks a lot to what we do and our culture here at Hire Smart. I think all of that helps our clients have that continuity and takes off that pressure of having to constantly hire or rehire or that revolving door.
Oh yeah, retention is great, continuity, and it only pours out into your customer service for sure. I know that because people are staying around, because especially these days, people are there. I mean, you used to stay with a business for 20, 30, 40 years and get your watch, right?
My dad was just coming to visit, and he was one of those. He worked for the same company 40 plus years, got the watch and probably a lot more. And I remember very distinctly when I was in my 20s and I was working from employer to employer, he's like, "What is wrong with you? Like, why can't you hold a job?" I'm like, "Dad, I've never been unemployed. I never have been unemployed." And he's like, "But you can't stay in a job." I'm like, "I don't want to stay." So interestingly enough, this is the first time I've heard him say that. And it was yesterday. He goes, "My daughter figured it out way before I did. She knew what the landscape was." And again, I didn't job hop. I was there for years, but I didn't stay 40 years or 20 years. As it turns out, I'm a serial entrepreneur, and all of us tend to, again, see problems, solve it, and create a business around it, and that's kind of what we've done.
That's it. And our brains are evolving at a faster rate now, much faster rate. It's because of technology. I mean, think about it. I heard some stat. I'm paraphrasing now, but it was like the amount of technology that was on this planet since the dawn of man until 2000. We'd eclipsed that in like a few months.
Well, and I heard a stat literally just last week that the doubling of information, again, escalated, and now it's down to every 12 hours we're doubling the information.
Wow. See, it's getting faster and faster. Like, my information is obsolete like yesterday.
It was nuts. I was like, I'm going to be that much smarter at midnight tonight.
It's incredible. Speaking about smarter, all right, let's talk about how automation can help with that customer service and follow-up process, because that's a huge thing.
So I think, your customer relationship management softwares obviously have a key component with that from the tech side. I think having humans being able to do that, reach out. Again, I'm a blend of tech and human. I believe both have a place in our world, and look forward to seeing how that continues to develop and evolve. I tell people, a lot of people are like, "Oh, AI is going to take my job and whatever." I'm like, "No, AI is not going to take your job," but people who know AI and are able to utilize it as a tool might. And so we are very much forward thinking in that arena, because you have to be willing to adapt in today's world. You have to be willing to look at what options are available. So in the customer service, we have chatbots now. Chatbots are great for FAQs, for those routinary questions that people have that they don't want to talk to a human. And I think the difference between customers or clients that are going to really just take off in the next 5 years versus those that are just kind of plateauing is in that combination of, you have easily available information, self-serve on one side, and then you have high touch, high human interaction that's quality on the other. Right. I think when companies invest in both of those, that's where we're going to see some exponential growth. And because they're serving their clients' needs, you're not just saying, "I'm only going to do this," or "I'm only going to do that." Right. You have to be able to adapt to both, I think, in order to be able to succeed.
100%. People, the process, and the technology. So get the people, make sure your people are together, make sure they're taken care of, make sure you have good processes, and then get the technology, get the automation.
Yeah, you can't automate what you can't do manually. I mean, that's what people are like, "Oh, I'm just going to automate." Well, what's your process? Right. Well, I don't have one. I'm like, well, you can't automate what you don't know or don't have.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a really, really good point, Rob.
And it's also good to take a look at your process because you don't want to automate a broken process. It's like
That's true.
automating a bad habit or something. You don't want you don't want
I
bad habits on auto because that's essentially how I look at automation, like how our subconscious brain works. The subconscious does things like you don't even know what's doing, like it making your blood flow, helping you breathe. You don't know what's doing it. But bad habits that we're doing unconsciously, like maybe smoking cigarettes or maybe biting their nails or something of that nature, we're trying to stop. But unless we're intentional about it, we don't stop. So having intention is important, I'm sure. How do you help business owners understand that and come down to reality, to help them see it through the right lens first?
Well, I think a lot of it is we take a very consultative approach with our clientele. So part of what we offer, in addition to great recruiting, which I think is super important, being able to find and get and screen and do all of that to have the right people, it's working with the business owners to see how much process do they have, how much foundation do they have, are they ready for me to give them a good virtual employee, what's missing, because as you said, you can't automate things that aren't already delved in. And so those are from the consulting side that I do with our hiring. We make sure that the entrepreneur has everything that they need to be successful right out of the gate
Yeah,
with a virtual employee. So that's, I think, how we address it here.
that's good. That's good. Let's dive into some case studies, some success stories. Let's talk about give us a couple. We'll let you kind of iron it out. Maybe talk about what the problem was, how you identified it, and then how do we wind up?
Sure. So one of my best case studies that I have is happened to be a community association management company that came to us early on, and they said, we're just having a really hard time getting people. I said, great. Well, I can certainly help you with that. And so we got a good job description, got him some really good candidates. He's using us for a year or two, and I met with him in person at a mastermind, and he said, well, let me just share with you some of the ancillary benefits that I didn't even realize I would have. Not only am I saving money, that's great, and we have stability in the workforce, which is great. He says, but my US people get to go home at 5:30 at night. He says, before you, they were working till 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. It was not uncommon for me to walk through my office and still have 25, 30% of my staff here. He says, since I've been able to form this partnership with you, Anne, he says, at 5:30, it's crickets in here. So
Wow.
what I've been able to do is give my people the support so that they can go home to be with their families versus my competitors that are still running around like chickens, and still having to work those crazy hours. He says, I'm able to save money. I'm able to get more work done.
Mm.
I'm able to be more efficient, and
Wow.
I'm giving a better quality of life to my employees. He says, this is just a win-win-win
Win,
all the
win,
way
win.
around. And again, we didn't even talk about the fact that at Hire Smart Virtual Employees, we give our people top tier health care, dental care. We are
Mm.
rolling out a retirement plan for them this year, which is
Wow.
unheard of. We have a community of support. So we do a lot behind the scenes, to again partner with our clients to make sure not only are US people happy and taken care of because they've got the support they need, but we're also giving that support and taking care of the basic needs plus more to their virtual employees as well. So it's like I said, it's this great like kumbaya
Yeah.
symbiotic thing that really has a huge impact in the world, and that's what we're all about here.
Oh, I love it. I love it. You said you were in property management for how long now?
18 years.
18 years.
I still own a property management company. I just don't own it for other people. Now I
Oh,
have like my own my own portfolio
oh, good.
that we manage, but I manage other people's as a broker for 18 years, and certainly we sold that company last year, as a matter of fact.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
We have a lot of property managers. The property managers in real estate and accounting and the financial industry are a huge, you know, audience of us that follow
Right.
us. And so that's why I love when people have insights. I'm going to ask you. So being in the industry that long, what advice would you give to property managers based off, the services that you currently have, what you've learned and what you know about property management, all the ins and outs, the things you got to deal with? What would you say to property managers anywhere, everywhere listening?
I think you need to. So there's a lot of things that are going on in the business in the property management role. I mean, honestly, a lot of legal stuff, and the landscape is changing, right? There's a lot of consolidation in the industry. Big players are coming in, big VCs are coming in and buying up these smaller. I did not sell out to a VC. I sold to a mom and pop. And so there's all these changes. And so one of the things I would say if I'm talking to a broker is, what is it that you want? What is it that do you love property management? Do you love it? And I loved it. I mean, honestly, I was really good at it. And there are other people that love it. So what about it do you love? And then there's the next question is, what is it that's not working for you? What is it that isn't serving you? And for those tasks that aren't serving you, you need to find a way to offload those tasks. And, virtual employees is an easy, cost-effective way to do that. But sometimes, for me, once I automated and once I, had a virtual employee for all the roles that could be a virtual, that you still have to go visit properties, right? And so if visiting properties isn't your thing, then hire somebody to do that, but give them the support so that they're doing what they like to do. So, hiring a property manager that loves doing property inspections, hiring somebody that really does enjoy showing properties or whatever it is in your business.
Right.
And then give them the support of a virtual employee to answer the phone calls and do all that. That's what I did. I went to my property manager and said, what is it that's on your plate right now that you don't like? And how can I get that off your plate? All of that ended up moving to a virtual employee. And, she was with us for 7 years after that and loved doing her job and doing what she did best. So that would be my first thing. The second thing I would say to our property manager is, evaluate your portfolio. Are you attracting the kind of clients that you want? My niche was what I call my ideal client was what I call my 7s and 7s. At that time, it was a 700 plus credit score and 7-figure income, because they didn't want to deal in the day to day, and I didn't want them dealing in the day. I just wanted to take care of their property as if it was my own, make those decisions for them, and let them really be armchair investors. And that was my sweet spot. And everybody was kind of surprised, but that's the marketing that I did. That's the attraction that I had. That's the type of business that I wanted. I didn't want accidental landlords. Again, there's a property manager for every kind of investment property, even accidental landlords. But for me, I didn't enjoy working with that. I like the business part of it, the business part of investing. So look at your portfolio. Are you managing, are your clients the people that you want? Are your properties the kind of properties that you want? If not, start working a plan to get that more in alignment with your long-term goals. I think that's an important piece, because that way you can fall in love with your business again.
Good tips. And tell me about these helping kids behind you. I'm very interested in that. What is that about?
So about 2.5 years ago, my husband came to me after I had told him, no more businesses, we're done. He's like, honey, I got one more. And I said, no, honey, we're done. He said, no, you need to listen to me. I got one more. And I said, okay, what is it? And he says, I saw a bumper sticker on the road and it said, no farms, no food. And I like to eat. I said, well, I kind of like to eat too. What is that? Well, what do you mean? Like, I don't understand. And he's like, well, there's no kids going into agriculture because it's 7 days a week and it's hard work. And like, we need to do something about that. And I said, what can I do about that? I mean, I'm not a farmer. Like, what do you expect me to do? And so he said to me, he says, look, we need to get involved. You and I love teaching and we love kids and we want to help kids find better alternatives to college. So you like entrepreneurship. So you do entrepreneurships. I'm going to focus on agriculture and careers in agriculture. And we're going to go into the schools and we're going to start teaching the kids the skills that they need to have college alternatives.
Oh
So
yeah.
Hire Smart Cares deals with, we have three main focuses. Obviously, we want to take care of our Filipino workers. So we have scholarships for our Filipino school kids that they can apply for. So we help there. But here in the US, we are creating a framework for people to get involved in the school. Our ultimate goal is to make high schools not education centers, but employment centers, giving them true tasks, skills, so that when they are able to leave high school, they can be employable. And we had 19 students. Again, we're really young in this business, but we had 19 students graduate on a Friday and have a working job on a Monday. And that
Wow.
was all through us working with industry partners. And for the trades, a lot of it were trades like HVAC, construction, plumbing, those types of things. So we're getting the kids involved in these type of exposure
Wow.
to these trades early on. So those that aren't able or willing to go to college, or it's just not a good fit for them, and they don't want to take on that college debt for not having a real kind of understanding of what that is. So we're doing financial literacy in the high school. We're doing social skills. I did a presentation to a bunch of the construction students that told them how to interview and how to create a resume and how to network, and said,
Wow.
how to bow out of an interview gracefully if it's not a job that you're interested in. But you don't just leave. You say, this really isn't for me, but who do you know that I should know that might be able to help me? So giving them some of those social graces and those social, how to just shake hands and say, hi, my name is Anne Lackey. It's nice to meet you. So I went around and shook all the guys and girls' hands. I'm just showing what a good handshake looks like. Look them in the eye. All those things we work on. And our goal is to create a framework that works here, that's replicatable and duplicatable, so that those people who are interested in that movement, which I do believe it's becoming a movement,
Yeah.
will be able to set up a similar framework in their community.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, Rob, I am not a complainer. I see things in the world and it bothers me. And I can either sit here and talk about the fact that it bothers me, or I can actually do something about it. And so I made the decision that I was going to support my husband, who had a great idea in this quest to change the world yet again, through this not-for-profit that we've got, Hire Smart Cares. And we are impacting
That's good.
lives, and we are changing it, and
Love
it's
it.
going to be, it'll be generational. Like,
Yeah.
because here's the thing, you can't teach what you don't know. We kind of talked about, you can't
Yeah.
automate what you don't know. You certainly
Yeah.
can't teach what you don't know. So we're
Right.
trying to get those kids educated so that
Yep.
they can change for generation after
Yep.
generation.
And they don't just have education; they have actually skill sets that can actually produce something.
Absolutely. And
Yep.
I think that's gonna be my mark on the world. So Hire Smart Virtual Employees, like I said, it does with the labor issue of today. Hire Smart Cares is going to take care of generations to come. And so that's how I help kids each and every day. And I
Love it.
love that part of what we do. So he got me kicking and screaming, but I finally
Wow.
crossed the finish line, and here we are.
Well, I'll tell you right now. First of all, my wife and I, we started our nonprofit, very similar to what you're talking about right now, about 15 years ago, helping kids, helping families, everything you were saying about helping them find their goals, getting scholarships to college, not just scholarships, but helping them put together goals and then a strategy to accomplish those goals, roadmaps to understand. Like, cause we never talk about those kind of things coming up. We kind of like, just do this, do that. You're wrong. And then, now be a winner. So I love your approach. Again, any way I can support you, even offline, let's talk about that. I'll share that link, because I'm all about the kids. Like, that's my number one thing in life, actually. So I'm
It's
automation technology, but it's kids is my number one. So when I saw that, it's like, we're going to talk about that kids thing. We're going to get to that.
well, good. And interestingly enough, another program that we did last year is, and through the junior ROTC, we funded some drones and got some drone education. And we had several kids get their NIF certification and were able to get employed right out of high school. That 19 didn't even include those, because I don't know where those are yet. So I'll get the update in literally, we just started school back. So I'll get an update for first sergeant about how those kids were able to utilize that certification as well. So again, I'd
Exactly.
love to talk about that offline.
You are,
But
yeah.
but for your listeners, get involved. Like seriously, if you're an entrepreneur and you've got some time or you've got some money or you've got some talent that you want to give, come talk to Rob or to me, and let's figure out how we can get you plugged in to make that make it better. Because we need more people, right? We need more people on the bandwagon.
Yep, for sure. For sure. All right, and last two questions are coming in for landing here. All right, so if you could automate one thing in your, or to that one thing in your business life, if you could automate one thing in your business life right now, think of one thing you'd automate it. What would that be?
Well, actually, it's interesting that you say that because I'm actually looking at this. I want to create an Anne bot. So a virtual avatar of me that has gone through a lot of my sales calls, a lot of my frequently asked questions. So again, it gets into the tech piece of being able to meet people that maybe aren't ready to have a personal conversation with me, but they're curious, right? And they want to know how this would work. And so they want a virtual sales call with me. So that's what I'm actually working on to try to get that to be automated, but we're not there yet. The technology is not quite where I want it to be, but it's coming.
That's coming. Oh, it's coming. And the fact that you're talking about the intention is just making it come faster. So continue on. All right. Now give us your best piece of business advice and your favorite quote.
Oh gosh. My best business advice is to have clarity. Be clear on your wants and your goals and be clear about who you are. So here at Hire Smart Virtual Employees, we have a very set core values that we not only just have a plaque on the wall, but we talk about this framework that we use for decision making. And so I would encourage every business owner to relook at your core values. And if you're not talking about them with your team and with your people, talk about them, talk about how you utilize them in your decision making and empower your people to make those decisions on your behalf, utilizing those core values, because that's going to save you a ton of time, energy, and effort. My favorite quote, I have so many. I think probably the one that would resonate the most is, I think, from Henry Ford, and it's whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. And so just letting that sink in for just a minute, because your mindset is everything. Your mindset of how you view the world or what you want to accomplish, it's all in your mind. And if you have the right mindset, you will grow. If you would have asked me, my younger me, if I would have been, multi businesses and helping kids and doing all that, I would have said, no, I'm just doing, because my mind wasn't mature enough. But now that I know, like what I know, it's like, man, the sky's the limit. And the sky is the limit for all of our listeners out there. If you can conceive it, you can achieve it. But you've got to want it and you've got to be disciplined to get it. I talk to a lot of people that are like, hey man, I would love to be where you are. I'm like, great. Do you want to do all the stuff I had to do to get here? Because let me tell you, it's not. So mindset's a part of it.
Yeah.
You got to put in some elbow grease and be willing to be uncomfortable.
Yes.
Through the process. And so there have been plenty of times I've been uncomfortable.
And we comfortable.
Just push through it and get comfortable. Right. That's what you do. You okay. The first time I spoke to 3,000 people, I was uncomfortable. Now I can speak to, 500,000. It doesn't bother me because it's just, I just realized they're just people and it is what it is. And I'm me. I'm not trying to be anything, special. But I do think
too. You're very competent, and that helps. That also helps with confidence. Like if you don't have confidence, actually the primary force for confidence is competence. And so once you have competence and then you recognize that helps your confidence. So eventually being a speaker, it has to come out of you because you had so much experience. So it's like only a matter of time before you had to start talking about this, Anne.
Well, Rob, what can I do for you? How can I help you today? You've been a very gracious host, and is there anything that I can do to serve you or help you in any way?
I'm going to tell you something. No one's ever asked me that on this podcast, not on the podcast at all. So I appreciate you asking that. And for me, I'm always looking to interview interesting people. people who are helping business leaders, helping businesses win, grow, do more, have less stress, anything, because I think that's what it's all about. Because all these businesses are ran by people. And the more stress we can take off people, the better our well-being as a society will be. I'm looking at this as a whole construct. So again, anybody that can be on the podcast, at all, that in any industry, and of course, since you were in the property management industry so long, any introductions there? Because we love talking to them. Because you never know. You don't know what you don't know, and every single person you meet is like machine learning. You just gain more information for the whole.
Well, I can make some introductions, and I'd be happy to do that. I will talk offline about the best way to make those introductions, but I would love to serve you in that way.
Well, thank you. And why don't you let people know how they can find you, best way to reach, to get in contact with you, and get close to your information.
Sure. If anybody wants to meet with me, I have a very simple website, which is www.meetwithanne.com. So meet with Anne, Anne with an E, as you see, .com. And you can schedule a virtual coffee with me. I'd love the opportunity to chat with you. If you're a business owner and think you can utilize our services, awesome. If you are interested in more in our not-for-profit, love to talk to you about that as well. And either through donations and or through your time, talent, energy, all of that is. But meetwithanne.com is the easiest way to connect in with me. If you're curious about what we do, it's hiresmartvirtualemployees.com, and you can certainly spend some time. There's great information on that site about kind of growing your business and scaling. So it's got some great resources there as well. So those are the two ways.
Awesome. Well, Anne, thank you for being here on the show, and thank you all for listening. Be sure to connect with Anne. If you're listening to this on YouTube, Twitter, or any of those platforms on social media, just come down to the description. You can find a link, and you'll find Anne's information. If you're listening to this podcast, follow the same route. You can click on the description, and you can click on Anne, and it'll take you right to her world. Anne, thanks for being here.
It's my pleasure, Rob. I look forward to getting to know you and working with you in the years to come, and getting you what you need, and some additional speakers that your audience might be interested in.
Thank you so much. And remember, folks, you don't know what you don't know. So get around folks who know more than you know. Until next time. Automation, automation nation, automation, automation nation, automation, automation nation, around the nation, automation.